and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and we are here with Johnny Sincerely. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, to me, your music is like a romantic vacation. I say that like I've ever been on one.
But if you did,
Fantasyland.
It is. I listen to it, and there just is an international flair to it, and you are such a romantic. So I'm excited to learn more about you and learn more about the music. So if I could just even start by saying, tell us about you.
Well, I'm a bit of an enigma, and I like that. It's funny that you say that because one of the taglines I like to use is America's favorite hopeless romantic, because I think hopeless romanticism, yeah, is a good place to be as long as you can handle it. So that's what I try to do. That's what I try to convey in my music is a sense of it doesn't matter if it's real or not, or if it's where you're at. It's about wanting it. It's about wanting romance, and not even just relationship romance, but the romance of music, of aesthetic, of anything. So I really appreciate you saying that. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yours is it's from the romance of just thinking you might have a croissant in the morning. I mean, there's just this,
Romance is anything. Romance is a book that you love to read that makes you feel like it transports you to some other place. Romance is that first cup of coffee. I'm a French press guy. And it's that my first cup of coffee out of my French press. That's as romantic as it gets.
It makes me wish that I liked French press instead of I start my day with a Diet Coke, which is
well, that can be romantic too.
It could be, but it does. Yeah. It kind of makes you aspire to do more romantic things, to travel, and there is a very international flair to much of your music. I was just in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, so it's hard for me to listen to a lot of the songs without hearing some of the New Orleans sound.
That's great to hear, especially from this album, because I'm writing new music now that I feel like has even more of that element to it. So if you're hearing it in this album, wait till the next one.
Oh, good.
It's even better. But I love New Orleans jazz and New Orleans blues. I definitely think that's an inescapable part of my music vocabulary. So I'm glad you can hear it.
Yeah, I think that it's well, we should talk about you have an album that's coming out, yours truly, on July 30th.
Correct. Yep.
Nice.
And it's actually called Yours Truly, Johnny Sincerely.
Thank you.
So I debated whether or not, because I know on Spotify it's going to look weird when it says Yours Truly, Johnny Sincerely right below it. But I just love the way that sounded. And then I had written 10 songs for the album. And I realized, and I was calling the album Yours Truly, Johnny Sincerely. And I realized I hadn't even used that phrase in any of it. So then I wrote the introduction track at the very end. That was pieced on at the very end as a way to set the tone for the album, because it's I'm ridiculous, so I wanted to set the tone of ridiculousness from the beginning, and also I don't know if that track was inspired by that phrase as much as I wanted to fit it in, or I don't know exactly how that works, but so the first track is called Introduction, aka Yours Truly, Johnny Sincerely, and so that's how I managed to at least get a song called that or work it into the album.
Well,
I want to backtrack and hear a little bit more about you, because you saying you're ridiculous and all of this. I want to know where this is coming from or who it is, so we can get a little bit more of your personality from the album?
Sure. Well, I started writing music as Johnny Sincerely years ago. And then I fell in love with the burlesque and cabaret scene in the Twin Cities, and it's vibrant and a great scene here. And so then I started producing and hosting burlesque shows and cabaret and variety shows, and kind of left music behind for the most part. Every once in a while I would incorporate music into a act, or I would do a musical feature, but I wasn't pursuing a musical career at all. And then when the pandemic hit, obviously that stopped that part of my world. So I felt sorry for myself for a few months, and then I remembered, wait, I'm a musician and I'm a audio engineer. You know, I went to school for audio engineering, so I can record myself at home and I can do all this. So that's when I took on the project of this album, which I recorded every instrument. I mean, I played every instrument and recorded myself. I mixed it, I mastered it, I did anything. The only outside touches to this album are I have backup vocalists on a couple of the tracks. So everything else was completely me. And so I think not having music in my life in a serious way for a couple years, and then coming back in this way, the theatricality and the ridiculousness of the performance art that is burlesque and cabaret and variety and stuff like that. I didn't want to pretend like that wasn't me or that wasn't a artistic expression for me. So that's why I say the ridiculousness of Johnny Sincerely. And I think a lot of modern music is very introspective and very personal. And I think that's beautiful and I think that's great. And a lot of my favorite artists do that. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to create a character and create music from that character, as opposed to focus inwardly on the person behind Johnny Sincerely. So that's kind of the background of Johnny.
I was going to say, Anne got the fancy part of Johnny Sincerely, and when I listen to it, I think of Quentin Tarantino, where it's death and comedy, and he's brilliant and quirky and all of the things mixed together, and you're like, how does this guy think? And then when you're like, I did all the instruments, I blah, 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 I was just like, okay, yep, this is the guy.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's really, I respect Quentin Tarantino a lot, and mainly because if you see 30 seconds of a Quentin Tarantino film, you know it's Quentin Tarantino's film. And that's what I want to create with Johnny Sincerely, is if you stumbled into a live show or if you heard a snippet of something, you know the expression that's going on there, and you know the individual that it came from. So that's beautiful to hear. I appreciate that.
I was going to say, and I also, what's the I'm Cold But I'm Hot, totally had Uma and Johnny doing their dance of some sort. It just like created a little show in my head while listening to it too.
Well, if Uma Thurman ever wants to dance with Johnny Sincerely, I'm here for it. But I did just shoot a music video for that song, and it's going to be debuting on July 16th, so this upcoming Friday. And I have a burlesque performer named Joy Coy, who is one of the most fantastic, beautiful, talented burlesque performers in the Twin Cities. And she's going to be in it with me. And what we did for this video was I'm gonna fix my screen a little bit. We shot it in double time, and then slowed it down. So we shot it in double time, and then slow it down. So the video is in slow motion, but I'm singing along with the lyrics.
Oh,
So the lip sync still matches, but
wow.
everything else is slower. And had I known, I had never lip synced in my life before a few weeks ago. Lip syncing at double speed is a whole nother challenge. I don't know if I would have gone that route, but it worked out fine. It turned out fine. And so I'm very excited about that video coming out. It's gonna be really cool. And it's all, did you see the first video that I released? So I have a black and white aesthetic for this whole album. So all the promo stuff I'm doing is black and white. I love old film, and I love timelessness. And I think black and white adds an element of timelessness. So this one is gonna be, like I said, this slow-mo, dreamy kind of feel. Plus, it's a sepia tone. It looks like it was shot by I'm blanking on the name now, but the Voyage to the Moon, you know, like those original, like the old films. It's grainy.
Oh, the Chronocolor. Jeez, Technicolor. Jeez. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's like 1920s, 1930s kind of feel to it, and each verse is a different scene in slow motion, and yeah, I wish I had it done, because I would have sent it to you so that I could show it to you. But I'm also editing the video for it.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I'm still working on that. So as long as I get it done by Thursday evening, it'll be out Friday. And I'm very excited about it, very proud of it. And Joy Coy killed it. She's not only just being beautiful and doing the stuff, but also with creative input and helping the whole thing come to fruition. So yeah, so I don't even know what. Uma Thurman, yeah, Uma Thurman would have been great too, but I think I would go with Joy Coy.
It's good to go local. To talk about the video that we did see, this gives us something to look forward to on Friday. So we can enjoy it on Friday, and we'll know the backstory. That'll make it all the more fun. But I love the idea of the silent film and the video for When I Die. I think that
yeah, it's I love that aesthetic. I think it's beautiful. I think HD is beautiful too, you know, like modern film technique and something, but there's something about grainy black and white film that it's romantic. I think it's romantic to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to do something that felt like that, but I felt like if the whole video was like that, it might not work as well. So that's why I have the intro that's purely that aesthetic, and then I kind of use the colorful background to break up, give a little variety and a little interest to it.
it's a great way to convey the story as well. Just to having the text that you've got there. I mean, I think it's great. And that song itself, I mean, one of the things that I like about your songs so much is that they are so visual.
Yeah.
The idea of burying me in an Italian suit and rings on my fingers and cufflinks and snakeskin boot, you know, yeah.
Musicians if you wanted.
It's pretty impressive, you know, but I like that through all of the songs, it's that level of, you know, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think that speaks to what I was talking about earlier about it's coming from a character. So that almost necessitates that there is a vision there. And I'm an aesthetic person. I always appreciate aesthetic. So I think when I write, I can't escape that for the most part. And so yeah, I think, and that's why I thought, man, I need to do some music videos for this because it just lends itself well to it. It's also, of course, a way to spread your music. You know, it's so hard to, there's so much great music being made that it's not a matter of how can I find something good to listen to. There's so much good stuff being made. How do I pick what to listen to? And I was hoping that the videos would help facilitate people coming to me who might appreciate that cinematic, aesthetic based vision. So hopefully it works.
Well, and kind of a way to lift up the burlesque as well, you know, to lend another platform for the persona of Johnny Sincerely, you know, and it's and I'm a fan of burlesque. It seems like forever since I've seen it because no one has seen anything for 2 years, you know. But it's, you know,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're not lying.
so it,
Yeah, and I kind of made a decision. I felt like I had to make a decision if I was gonna. You can't. I always try to think of myself as a professional, and I don't think you can be a professional musician and do other things unless you're well established. So I kind of made the decision I'm going to leave that world behind. But I still love it. I still know all of these super talented people. And so I have 3 videos. The one that was already released, When I Die, Bonnie Trash was the performer in that.
Okay.
And she's more of an aspiring burlesque performer, but she's also just one of the funniest, quirkiest people. She has the best she's my favorite social media presence on Facebook and Instagram. And so I'd met her a couple times, but then just respected her weirdness and her aesthetic so much that I wanted to work with her. And then Joy Coy, of course, is one of the best in the business. And then I have a 3rd video coming out on the 30th for the album release. So it's not technically a single, I guess, but it's for the album release. And that's with a performer named Kitson Sass, who normally does aerial. Well, I guess she's most famous or most well known for doing aerial as a part of Kitson and Pistol. Kitson and Pistol. They're a duo lyra act, but she also does burlesque, like floor routines. And so she's going to be the star of the 3rd video. So it was just an excuse to collaborate with my friends and these people that I respected. And I think burlesque lends itself really well to music videos because you're not it's all visual. There's nothing more revealing than being on stage alone or having a camera put right on you. You know, you have to be so controlled and so your physicality has to be so thought out and persuasive. So it just lends itself well to it. So my goal is to shoot 100 more music videos sometime in my life and to have a burlesque performer be involved in any one of them. And hopefully a bunch of them. If I had the budget for it, I would have just been surrounded by burlesque performers. But, you know.
So I have a question then. When you are going to have your live shows, will you have something like that with you, or will you project some of your videos while you're playing, or are you just, it's me and my... Go ahead, sorry.
The goal is to have collaborations with performance artists at my shows. For the White Squirrel, that's not going to happen because it's my first solo show in like 3 years. So, and it's hard with the solo stuff. I could make it work, but I just got done with rehearsal. I have a band that I'm putting together that's going to back this album. So once we're ready, I would love to have performers, do acts to my music. And I actually have the idea to do the album front to back and have a different performer for each song. But that's ambitious and probably a ways down the road. But
really cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know why more artists don't do that. Like have dancers be involved in their live shows, or not even burlesque, but any kind of thing that can set you apart or convey your message better, or add an element of surprise or awe or inspiration. I like to surprise people, and if you come to a Johnny Sincerely show expecting music and some beautiful person comes on stage and starts dancing to that music, who wouldn't want that? So it's absolutely a ambition. I don't think I'll do the videos because the music is evolving, so it wouldn't match up,
Yeah.
But I would love to have some kind of video element if it was, even if it wasn't the music videos, but have some kind of collaboration with an animator or, filmmaker or something like that.
I was going to say, yeah, it has, as Ann said before, it has such a visual element to it. It's hard not to see something creating while you're in it. But yeah. It's an added stress. And I know at the White Squirrel, the stage is like smaller. So you'll be like,
yeah, have you been there?
Yes, I love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's a great space. It's really cool. Yeah. So I was in a band before, and we had elements where we would have people collaborate with us, performance artists and stuff like that. And we did a show at the 331, and that stage is even smaller than the White
Yeah,
Squirrel.
that's true.
And it was just limiting as to what they could do. And it was usually like they would get there and be like, oh, this is what I have to work with. And we were like, yeah. But you can always make it work. You can also have people out in the crowd, or doing, floor work or out in the crowd or something.
That would be mind-blowing if you had people through the bar area and then all of a sudden just like, what the hell? Sorry.
Yeah, no.
You got my wheels turning. Like I'd be like talking to somebody, all of a sudden, blah, I don't know. It's so crazy.
I had an idea. I don't know if I'll be able to pull this off, but it won't be for my show next. But to have the backup singers in the audience, the background singers, and to just stand up, and because the three backup vocalists that I had for this album are a part of the Gilbert Sullivan Very Light Opera Company. So they're opera singers. So they can project. Like they don't need microphones. Like don't put a microphone near them. You'll blow out everything. So they can project. So if they were just placed around the venue and then they just stood up during their parts and started singing the background vocals, but that might get tricky. I got to think about if I can make that work or not. But to what you're saying, if it's just emerging out of the audience and you're just like, wait, that person was a part of this that whole time, I love that. I think it'd be really cool.
See, it's that Quentin Tarantino element to your stuff. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. That was going on this whole time. I didn't even know about it. Yeah.
But bringing that showmanship, I think there's one of my very favorite singers, Imelda May. and she's from Ireland. She's not an Irish singer per se. It's more rockabilly. She did burlesque for years, and
Okay.
there's always she couldn't wash it off her. You know, I mean, she just brings it to the stage, and it's a yeah. You'll have to check her out. Imelda May is her name, and it's
May?
Imelda May.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah,
she's from Dublin. It's not Irish at all. She just happens to be from Dublin, but it's
sure.
her shows are, and I can see where I don't think you could do a show that didn't have a visual element because it's so much, as you said, you're very aesthetic. It's so much of who you are, which just adds an element, I think, to anything. It
like,
deepens your
why would
understanding.
you not incorporate it if you have it, you know? And I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now had I not had my years in that community to learn and to learn from people that are way more talented and way better, you know, at hosting. And like I always felt fortunate that I was even involved in that community because I was just surrounded by these super talented people who went to theater school and who were legit dancers, and they all went this route. And for me, it was like, hey, you're still letting me hang around? And so I was just learning the whole time. And then why would I not use it? Yeah, it's, you know, it's like, it would be like if you hung around jazz musicians for a long time and then like, well, I'm not going to use any jazz element for my music. It's like, why not? You know, it's that's how I see it, you know. And I want to live shows. Like I said before, I think it's beautiful when you have somebody come out solo and pour their heart out personally. It's a really powerful experience, and you really feel like they're sharing something with you, and they're being vulnerable with you. But I also like other stuff, you know, and so I'm trying to go the other route. I'm not vulnerable. I'm saying, yeah, I'm a character, and you know that's what I want to be when I'm on stage.
This is a good time for a romantic vacation. I mean, it's a good time for that escapism of going to see and just the, you know, sometimes, you know, sometimes I go see live music and sometimes I go to a protest, you know.
Yeah, yep.
I think that there's certainly a time and a place for just letting yourself go, letting your mind go, and pretending that you are wherever. I mean, you know, it's funny because I think about it when you're at the White Squirrel, you have to go across the street and down a bit and check out Mancini's because that's where you would be perfect in that environment.
Oh yeah, I've driven by there. I don't know if
it is some old school. Yeah. It was an old school steakhouse, right. And they have a band that plays there on the regular basis.
Okay. Yeah, I want to do, because like I said, I'm putting together this band, and that's going to be Johnny Sincerely. So my solo shows are called Lounging with Johnny. And nice. It's like a faux lounge kind of thing. So I want to have 2 acts going, like the band, which would work in clubs, you know, like any venue, any rock venue, or you know, whatever. But then I also want to play supper clubs, just me doing stuff. And I also want to do, I can do just instrumental stuff too, which I'm putting together. So, yeah, I would love to do any kind of supper club, you know, old school stuff. But I'm weird, so it might get weird if people think they're only going to hear like Stardust and, you know, the American Songbook. I don't really do that.
You'll just have to check it out because it's very. I mean, I have gone there many times with my parents. It's,
yeah.
You know, St. Paul institution. It's, you know, so
but play for your parents. It would be an honor.
Yeah. So that would, I think that would be a good. So you're auditioning folks or encouraging folks to join the band. When you've done everything on the album, does that make it harder or easier to find the band to back you for the live shows?
It makes me incredibly grateful to have other people's input, because I did not making this album the way I did was out of necessity, not out of choice. So everybody I have, so I mean, I think I could probably announce it, but I just secured my drummer, which was the last element of the band. I have a guitarist and a bassist, and then I'll be on piano for some of it, and then I'll come out in front for other songs that don't need piano. And then I think we have a drummer that's going to work. They're all way better than I am at everything, at their individual thing. I'm not a great bassist. I just did it. I just figured out my parts for this album and then rehearsed them to death and then played it. And then I never play bass again. I mean, I don't want to play bass. I just had to realize this vision. So, it's a beautiful thing. It's not difficult at all. Our live shows won't sound exactly like the album. I don't want that. Everybody's going to be contributing, improving, adding their personality, their own creative visions to the songs. However, the songs are there. That's not changing. So, and I think that it was easier to put this together because I could give the album to people because it was done a few months ago. So I could just give the album to people and say like, hey, do you want to do this kind of? And it's not like, hey, I'm doing this, it's like the Beatles meet Miles Davis meet something. It's like, here's what it is. Are you into this or not? And people were, I'm fortunate enough that talented people were interested in it. So the foundation is there. The songs aren't changing, except for, adding solos and stuff like that. But it will sound different and it'll sound better. I think our live shows will sound better than the album. And someday I do want to re-record it with a band. But I've got like 4 other projects that I want to do before then. But someday I will. Maybe like the 20th anniversary. So what was that? Oh, 2020. Well, it's 2020. So 2040.
40.
Johnny Sincerely revisit. Yours truly. Yeah. Mark, put it on your calendar.
This might be a weird question, but I'm still going to ask it. When the bandmates, are they going to be sort of characterized too? I mean, I know they're not singing and whatever, but to bring sort of that element with you or accommodate that, or is that yours? And sorry if that's a weird question, but
oh, it's a great question. It's a great question. So I'm only asking them to aesthetically meet my vision. So luckily they're very fun, engaging people anyway. So it's not a huge stretch, but we are all going to be wearing suits. But as far as how much engagement on stage and stuff like that, we haven't really figured that out. But I think they'll be into it, and they get it. I mean, they know me. So the bassist and the guitar players, Sean Cosgrove and Joe Clark, have been my friends for a long time, so they know me. They wouldn't sign up for this if they didn't want, an element of ridiculousness in their lives. The drummer I just met, and he laughed at me. So that works for me. That's all you got to do to impress me. If you can keep a beat and you think I'm funny, you're in the band.
Yeah.
So there will be some of that, but aesthetically, definitely. Like if you looked at us on stage, I don't know if you, what your tastes are exactly, but when you watch old Howlin' Wolf videos or old Miles Davis videos, and they're all in suits and they're all sharp and they're tailored.
Ooh.
Why wouldn't you want to look like that? That's my thing. Is like, why wouldn't you want to look that sharp? So yeah, we'll definitely have an aesthetic element, but as far as theatricality, we'll have to figure that out.
Well, I think with the aesthetic, it will naturally just bring that out also.
Yeah, yep, that's a great point. Yeah, yep, I hope so. And like I said, they're fun people. I think they're kind of they'll do whatever.
It'll be fun to watch that evolve because I love the album, but what I have to say is when I listen to it, I really think, oh, I want to see this live.
Oh, cool. Well,
yeah.
Hopefully
I mean,
soon.
you're like, this is so much fun. I want to see this live. This is
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I hope some of that comes from that I tried to, so the recording process of this was grueling because me doing everything, but I always wanted to maintain a feeling, a deception that it was a bunch of people in a room playing together, so I hope that I was able to honor that a little bit and make it sound like, wow, this sounds like people playing together, not one guy not leaving his house for 5 months and slaving over a bass line for 3 weeks.
This, as we talk, I'm realizing this is going down as one of the strangest pandemic pastimes because you said it. I mean, to give the illusion that you're with people, and I can only imagine how difficult this would have been, and how crazy making it would have been, and how, there must have been times where you were like, "What the heck was I thinking?" And then there must have been times where you looked up and said, "Well, that's 3 days gone. I'm winning the pandemic."
Oh. It was it drove me crazy, but it also kept me sane because I was my professional life was in the entertainment business before the pandemic. So I lost. I mean, I lost. I don't want to make it sound like a victim thing, but I lost my previous life to the pandemic because it was I worked for a venue, I hosted burlesque shows, all of that. So it was very difficult. And like I say, it's not like the pandemic started and I was like, cool, I'm going to make an album. It was I didn't start until January of this year. So it was, 8 months of, at first I was trying to put together some burlesque shows for online stuff, and I did help produce a couple things. I wasn't in them, but I helped produce a couple things, but everything kept falling apart. And then, it's just like, what am I doing? Like, this isn't worth it. So then, I fell into a hole for a little bit. It was I went dark for a little bit, and it was the thing that got me out of it was literally just being like how did this not occur to me earlier? Like, wait, I'm a musician. Like, I just forgot that for some reason, and then was able to refocus on this project. Most of these songs, or I would say half of the songs I wrote more than 5 years ago. Not as Johnny Sincerely, I just started them, and then I altered them to fit Johnny over this process. But it really was what kept me sane and what kept me creative, which those two things they are inseparable. Like, if I'm not creating something, it's really difficult for me. So, but it also drove me crazy. Trust me. trying to learn bass just so you could do dun, 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 that's harder than it looked. And I'm good at guitar, but getting a good bass sound and that's the simplest instrument. So, yeah, it definitely drove me crazy. And then I went to school for audio engineering, but what they teach you in school does not equate to being at home on a laptop from 2000. My laptop's from 2011 that I mixed this thing on. So I have to like shut everything down to work on one thing, and that it was such a time consuming process. So I had the foundations for how to mix this and do all that, but it was a learning it was a learning process. The whole thing was a learning process, and I'm grateful for it. And now I get to talk to mostly Minnesota music about it, and I'm honored, and I'm so appreciative of your insights and your opinions and your reception to it. So it was all worth it.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. It's so much fun to hear the backstory of the resilience that led to this amazing escapism for the listener. You know, it's
great. That's what I want. I want people to, my favorite artists I put on when I'm having a difficult time or I'm feeling good, because they're a comfort. It's a comfort for me. And so if I can instill that in anybody, if I could instill the feeling I get, I love, Tom Waits is that for me. If I'm having a hard time or if I'm feeling good about myself, I'll put on Tom Waits. If I could make anybody feel how I feel when I listen to certain Tom Waits songs, it was all worth it. That's all I wanted. So hopefully I can make a living eventually, hopefully things build and all of that stuff. That is important to me. But the foundation is a romantic vacation. Man, that's as good as it gets.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad to hear. I will put this in the notes, but tell folks how to find you online.
At Johnny Sincerely on Instagram. JohnnySincerely.com is my website. My Facebook is under I don't have a Johnny Sincerely thing on Facebook. I don't want to put that out there because it's my real, self. So that's basically it. Oh, and YouTube. I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel. I have a Johnny Sincerely YouTube channel. Right now, it's only the videos, but that's going to have a lot more content on there soon. I'm using this beautiful backdrop to record some aesthetically pleasing content for my adoring fans. And so that'll have a lot more stuff on there. But really, I'm trying to push people to drive people to at Johnny Sincerely on Instagram, Johnny Sincerely on Spotify, and Johnny Sincerely on YouTube. And then I'm on Apple Music and all that stuff, but I don't know.
The usual places as far as that goes. But Johnny Sincerely, the website, Instagram. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So you've got one video coming out on Friday.
Yep.
And I can't remember now which one it is.
That's I'm Cold But I'm Hot, and that's the one with the slow-mo kind of thing to it.
That's right. So that I'm looking forward to that. And then you've got the you're playing at the White Squirrel on July 23rd.
Yep, and that's a solo gig, and I'm doing 3 hours.
Wow.
3 hours of Johnny Sincerely sitting at a piano, yakking. I'm going to be comedic bantering.
Awesome.
I've got some audience participation stuff I'm going to do. So check this out. Are we on a time limit? Can I keep going?
No, keep going. Yeah, you're good.
So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm taking Disney classics and I'm going to bring 2 people on stage who think they know Disney songs really well. And I start them really abstractly, and then I make them more and more normal, more and more like straight to the thing. And then whoever gets it So then I'm gonna do 3 songs like that, and whoever guesses 2 out of the 3 first gets a Johnny Sincerely t-shirt, which I should mention. I have merch on my website, johnnysincerely.com. Sorry, I'm not pointing at you. I'm pointing up.
That's okay.
I just do this for some reason. Yeah, so we'll do some audience participation stuff. I'm gonna do covers. Pretty much every song on the album. I'm gonna do a solo version of it. Also, I'm also just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
That's a long time to fill.
Yeah.
God, I hope we're not doing anything on the 23rd, Heather.
I was going to say, I love the interaction part of it. I think that's genius, and I think you're going to take off with that.
Yeah, and that's another carryover from the burlesque and cabaret stuff is like what I love about that art form is the absence of the fourth wall. There is no I'm up here. Well, I shouldn't say at all. Some people do perform like that, but my favorite performers are engaging. They're looking at you and you feel them. And I always try to do that as a host I would go out and walk through the audience while I'm talking and stuff like that. Because it's one thing that's really unique to that art form that you can do. And so I am trying to carry over some of that to the live show. And in the future, like I said, I will have more collaborations with performance artists, but not on Friday.
No, that'll be good. Well, Heather and I will be studying up on our Disney tunes so that we can win ourselves some t-shirts.
It's gonna be tough. There's a lot of material there. I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
They're from my era. It's not gonna be like the Disney movie that just came out not that long ago. None of that stuff. So it's gonna be like, the 90s, and before Disney stuff.
You can bring it way back before and then
What's that?
Bring it way back before the 90s and I'm in. You bring some Snow White in, I can.
Oh, well, you never know. I can't reveal because that would ruin it.
That would ruin it.
Don't cut it off, but it's definitely not like Soul, like the one that just came out. Not doing anything from there.
No, okay, that's good. That's good to know. I'll take that
Oh.
because I can't.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't even know that came out or anything about it, so I would already fail. I'm going for the t-shirt, so I got to study up.
We got
Yeah,
something
well,
to do.
I would love it if you were both there.
I'm hoping that we can be. I gotta look at the schedule, but I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so we got halfway through because then the Pièce de Resistance here is that the album is coming out.
Yes.
Yours truly, Johnny Sincerely, on July 30th.
11 songs written, performed, recorded, produced, arranged, annoyed, ripped up, pieced back together, mixed, mastered, all by me, with the help of my beautiful friends, Anna, Caitlin, and Cassie from the Gilbert Sullivan Very Light Opera Company. They provided, I billed them as the Sincere Lights on the album.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so I
That's
felt
cool.
like it fit the thing. But yeah, they were great. But other than that, it's a personal. Personal is it's a vision. It's a vision, and I'm very proud of it. And I hope other people. I hope it resonates with people, and I hope, like I said, it can provide comfort. That's what I love in music is comfort. It makes you feel good, and I hope it could do that for somebody.
Yeah, it does. As I said, it's a little romantic vacation,
Oh, I love that.
or so I hear. So, Jenny, thank you so much. It is. I was looking forward to this, and I was not disappointed. It's amazing to hear the work that you've done on this, and it's so fun to meet you. And yeah, I'm fingers crossed that we are available on the 23rd. So.
Yeah, and if not,
There'll be others.
yeah, there'll be others. Yeah, we'll talk another time.
All right. Great. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this, and thank you for what you do for local emerging artists. It's really important. You know, it's important work, and I think a lot of people don't realize what it takes to get to the point where a large audience is seeing your work. And it takes people like both of you to work really hard, just to give people like this ridiculous figure an opportunity to hopefully people get to know me a little bit or something like that. So thank you so much for what you do, not just for me, but for the Minnesota music community. It's beautiful.
It's very kind. It is our pleasure.
Great.